To the Brian Brawdy Show. It's time to mortal up.
Hail, human superheroes. It's time for the bully's nightmare, a thorn in the side of the political correctness cartel. Of course I want to get under their skin. How else can I get on their nerves? It's Brian. I'm in and very glad you joined us for today's ride. So what do you say? Let's get ready to mortal up. I don't know about you, but I'm most certainly ready. Good evening. Welcome to the 499th episode. Well, I got to tell you, someone reminded me today that this is like the one-year anniversary, or believe or close. My good friend Sue reminded me this is the anniversary of our 24-hour shindig way back then, back when I was still sporting a shunt, if I remember correctly. One-year anniversary of that, and I'm coming up on the 4-year anniversary of them finding the brain tumor. So it's like, you ever have one of those time frames of 4 years and you say to yourself, where did those 4 years go? Well, that's what I'm kind of like going, what happened to the time? It's flown by. But through all of it, for those of you that have been with me for the very beginning, thank you so very much. And I wanted to do this. Wayne put together a nice little graphic. Wait till you see this. This coming Tuesday, day after the holiday, will be our 500 episodes. So take a look at this. That's right. I bet you're thinking, boy, you don't waste any expense, right? We're on top of it. The 500th episode, we're going to have a very special guest. We're going to be adding on different things. This is like the Shakedown Cruise, because if you've been following me all along, you know that I'm not terribly good at this, right? So you should see when we get ready to start the show, you got to hit a camera, you got to hit this, you got to hit that, you can do it. So I'm like playing Twister. I'm trying to hold the remote with one hand, the mouse with this hand. I'm trying to do all these other things. So we're adding on a little bit just to make sure, right? Like baby steps, like Bill Murray, right? In that What About Bob, I think was the movie. And Richard Dreyfuss's book was called Baby Steps. We're trying to do this in baby steps. I'm slow. Don't shout. Don't try to scare them away. I'm very slowly adding new things to this, including learning how to position my microphone, but adding new things to this until I get it nailed. Oh, be that were it true. But in any event, the 500 episode is coming up Tuesday. We'll be adding the ability to text in. We'll be adding the ability to call in. We're going to be adding all kinds of stuff. Each day we'll add a little more, like a progressive dinner when you add a new neighbor to the list every time. Starting next week, we'll be adding more and more things here, always with, as you know, the very beginning, we talk about what the run of show is going to be. Of course, we'll have Media Mania segments, Lowlife's making headlines. We'll be talking about that tonight for sure. The Woke Spoke Choked, Facts Lives Matter, Wing Sauce, but always in trying to get to my favorite portion of the show a little bit later in the show, which will be Mortal Up. And, we're talking about the very best parts of you, the very best parts of being a human being, all the things, your natural resources, if you will, your authentic vigor, right? When we talk about bring your own bold, well, what's your own bold? Your authentic vigor, your buried logic, your grit, what it takes to mobilize those things, if you will. When you bring them all to the surface, then you go, well, look, I can pull off just about anything. And that's what we're most excited to talk about in our Mortal Up segments. But next week, 500th episode, mark your calendar if you are so inclined to come and visit with us. We'd really like the opportunity. All right, so for tonight, I think we're going to jump right into this because I just want to get it out, and then you can tell me what you think, and we'll kind of go from there. Lowlife's making headlines, or as we like to call it around here, brains that make your blood boil. Here's your brittle brain atop a balsa wood spine for today. All right, so here we go. And you can help me with this. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that I get it correctly, if you don't mind. So we talked about this morning, we teased Lowlife's making headlines. This young lady is the Contra County District Attorney. And why am I saying that she's a lowlife making headlines for tonight? Well, she has decided to tell the prosecutors within her office, and I really would like some feedback on this, right? I want your input. Maybe she isn't. Maybe this is the way we should just start doing it now. It's all about, what are their needs? And what she said, if you read the article, and we'll put a link up over on the Immortal Up page. If you read the article, she's saying that prosecutors in her office need to judge the need. People that have been arrested that come into the office, as you probably know, police do the arresting. They come to the district attorney's office. The district attorney takes the case from there and runs with it. Grand jury if it takes a grand jury, and then a trial, and they're the ones that prosecuted. At that point, the police just become the witness. Well, this particular district attorney has decided to say that when it comes to prosecuting these cases, we need to look to the needs. We want to look at the needs of the people that have been arrested, and right, if they're pillaging and rioting and throwing windows through stores, it's going to be need-based, right? There's a popular term everyone likes to talk about. Let's talk about need-based. Okay, so let's talk about that. I've whipped a couple together here. A bully needs to feel tough, so he targets someone weaker than he or she is, shoves them to the ground, punches them, and kicks them. But that's okay with this district attorney because he needed to feel that way. An auto thief needs a dependable ride around town. So he smashes the window and steals your car. But that's okay. You're thinking, why should I be upset? Well, don't be upset. He needed a dependable ride. He was tired of taking the subway, tired of taking the L, tired of taking the bus or hitchhiking. So he needed it. A residential burglar decides, you know what would be great? I'm not going to wait for Santa Claus, right? My birthday's next spring. You know what would be great? A giant plasma TV with built-in surround sound. I need one of those. So what does the bad guy do, or the bad girl? Don't want anyone to accuse me of mansplaining, right? Don't want to be sexist. The criminal, what does it do? Uses a crowbar, pops your deadbolt, which I really don't get. Not many deadbolts aren't all that secure. Pops your deadbolt. Now he's got your TV. A robber needs some quick cash, right? Don't we all? There's those times where you go to a grocery store and you buy something on a card and you put your card in and it goes, would you like cash back? I'm like, no, it's too much like Vegas for me. Do not give me cash back at one of these machines because I'll never leave, right? I'll keep going, yeah, I want more cash. But bad guys need cash too. So they decide, I need some quick cash. So he draws a weapon and demands your wallet or your watch or whatever else can be pawned. But that's okay. That's okay because he or she needed your extra cash. So, of course, it was okay to rob you. And as you well know, a drug addict, right? A drug addict needs a fresh fix. So he knocks you down, steals your purse. Now you're going to go, I got knocked to the ground. I scuffed my knees and my elbows, but that's okay. The drug addict needed to mug me to get the money to buy his next bag of heroin, let's say. So that's okay. Right now, according to this DA, it's all based on need. They needed that, so you're okay. This one. A rapist needs to exercise that sense of control of another human being, drags the victim around the corner or into the bushes, and has his way with her. But that's okay. Don't feel bad. Don't feel victimized. He needed to get laid. He needed to be able to exercise that overflowing passion. So, you got to let it go because he needed it. And here's what I've said all day long to the people that have asked me about it or the people that have commented. Unless you're Jean Valjean, I don't give a damn what the criminal mind needs. That in this day and age, what does it take to always say, I bet I know who gets the lowlife making headlines for tonight on the Brian Brawdy Show. What's it take to be a prosecutor who took an oath to prosecute criminals? But now, when you prosecute criminals, you have to go, let's take their need into account. Did they need some new sneakers, some new kicks? So since they needed some half a dozen new pairs of footwear, as one would, right? You want to wear a different pair of shoes every day. Well, they needed some new footwear. So to take that park bench and throw it through the sporting goods store window and pillage all the sneakers, well, they needed it. So that's okay. Let's be needs-based. You want to win low life's making headlines? Be a prosecuting attorney Who knows if Facebook will still leave this post up, right? Be a prosecuting attorney that says, no, we're not going to follow the law. We're not going to treat criminals like criminals. We don't feel like it. We don't have the feeling to exercise the law, so we're going to make it needs-based. And this lowlife making headlines decides, well, let's wait and see. Did the bad guy or the bad girl, did they really need what it is? Did they need to commit the crime that made them a criminal? You commit a crime. What does it make you? You're a criminal. Therefore, gets the lowlifes making headlines for today. All right, we'll be right back.
Portions of this broadcast have been pre-recorded.
Why? Because you can't get these people to hit a call time. They're the worst. Nah, I'm just kidding. We love our guests. Well, that's a little preview of what will be coming next week when we actually record a segment that will be used in the show. So we've got that coming for next week where, because some of the guests are like, oh, bro, I'd love to be on the show, but 8 o'clock Eastern, I'm tied up with my family. I'm tied up here. I'm tied up there. I just can't possibly make it. So portions of our show will be pre-recorded. Now, I also need to mention that you can go over to mortalup.com. Wayne's worked really hard to make certain that mortalup.com, BrianBrawdy.associates, BrianBrawdy.com, whatever. It's just easier to remember Mortal Up. MORTAL up. Mortalup.com is the clearinghouse for everything we do here at the show. If we do it, if we're involved in it in any way, shape, or form, it's over at mortalup.com. So if you get an opportunity and you want to head over there, that would be great. You can leave us an email. Don't forget, as Wayne put in the graphic, you can reach us Facebook, Brian Brawdy Official, or over on Spitter. You can reach us at Brian Brawdy. Always love to pick a fight or to respond back to those people picking a fight over on Spitter. Right? The keyboard courage, the snarkiness. You think to yourself, there's no way that person would say that to you in person. Oh, but I got a keyboard. I'm ready to go. Here we go. It's almost as deadly, they think, almost as deadly as having a skateboard to be armed with. Which has got to be, now, I don't get the Antifa email. I don't get the violent protester email. But I got to think a skateboard is the new weapon of choice if you've decided to pillage and riot. I'm thinking, I don't know, but I'm thinking the skateboard is it. So here's what I think a test should be. If you're carrying a skateboard around, I think they should make you ride it. Like DUI, if you get stopped for a DUI, right? And the patrol person, right? Matt Connerton will be proud of me. I didn't say patrolman, didn't say patrolwoman, patrol person. I don't make this stuff up. It just exists, right? It's just there. In any event, the patrol person says, I need you to do the alphabet from the letter D on, and please do it very slowly. Or I need you to bend over and touch your nose with your right index finger. Or I need you to walk on the fog line. I need you to walk on the mark of the shoulder of the road, 1 foot in front of the other. And that's just to see, right, if you've had too much to drink. That's the test that they use, I'm told, to see if you've had too much to drink. So if you get caught at one of these riots with a skateboard, I think instead of a sobriety test, they should give you a balance test. They should see. Now, you don't have to be like the actor in Walter Mitty, right? Riding a skateboard, rocks taped to his hand. I forget who that actor was. A big comedy name. Riding a skateboard at 180 miles an hour down a hill to get away from the volcano or whatever was erupting. So you don't have to be that good, but if you're going to carry a skateboard, I think they ought to do a balance kind of sobriety test and go, oh, is that your skateboard? Well, yes, it is. Oh, would you mind? Could you ride it 10 yards for me? And if they can't even get on it and keep their balance, pretty sure they're planning on using it as, or it could be construed as they're going to use that as a weapon. So just a little something to think about when it comes to people carrying skateboards. Oh, and I got a little bit of pushback today. So you know me, which we're all about mental clarity. All right. That's what the show is all about tonight. So let's talk about mental clarity. If I'm getting some pushback, all I'm going to do is continue to dig in a little deeper on it. Here's the thing. If you kick another human being while they're on the ground, I think your foot, your knee, your leg, right, your calf and your quadricep and all that stuff, I think that whole part of your body should be classified as a deadly weapon. simply because of the damage that can be done to a human head. So you got somebody lying on the ground, you walk up and kick them, you should be charged with possession of a deadly weapon. And it's fascinating to me that these people think, oh, I'll show him, I'll show her, I'll just kick them while they're on the ground. I don't care what it is you think they've done. Why would you kick another human being in the head? It just doesn't make sense to me. So in addition to saying, oh, if you got a skateboard, you got to be able to you ought to be able to ride it. Here's your test to see. I think if you kick another human being while they're on the ground, talk about kicking someone while they're down, you kick another human being while they're on the ground, you should be charged with possession of a deadly weapon. If you have a black belt in martial arts, they'll charge you, oh, his hands are lethal weapons, or his body is registered as a lethal weapon. Well, I think they should register everyone's feet. If you kick someone in the ribs, in the head, you kick someone in the face while they're on the ground, you should be charged with criminal possession of a weapon. So there you go. Let me just, like I said, let me dig that hole a little further. All right, here's not my favorite time, closing 15 minutes of the 499th episode. Let's get ready to jump right in. It's time to tune out the herd, because everything you've ever needed, you've always had. So bring your own bold and let's go mortal up. All right, and as a part of that mortal up, maybe we could look at this section. We talk about mental clarity. Maybe we could look at this section as like a public service announcement. There's a lot of talk lately about, well, my feelings. Here's what I feel. And let me just speak for me. I'm not attacking anyone else when I say this. This is a conversation I would have with the mirror. I say, oh, I feel. When I go, well, I really couldn't care less how I feel, right? Because feelings have never really helped me. They've never really nurtured me to get anything done, right? It's very seldom I feel like getting out of bed in the morning and going for a bike ride, going for a run. It's very, very seldom I ever feel like saying no to a piece of cheesecake, especially New York cheesecake with strawberries on top. Oh, God, right? It's not in me to feel that way. I don't feel like doing the things I'm supposed to. I got to tell you, there's plenty of mornings I don't feel like getting up and brushing my teeth, right? Right? That's what the first thing you want to do is look at your ugly mug in the mirror and brush your own teeth every morning. You don't feel it, but you do it. You do it because you know ultimately that's something that's going to benefit you or benefit, in my case, probably benefit the people around me. Morning breath. Oh, right? No, thank you. So all I'm suggesting is we look at things and we go, well, I don't feel like that's what I should do. And it's never served me well to vote along with my feelings. Most of the things that have come to me when I've ignored my feelings and done it anyways. I don't feel like going out in the cold, but I go. I don't feel like going out in the sun, but I go. I don't feel like going downstairs and writing, but I do. I don't feel like getting up at 11 o'clock at night because somebody's at the door. I don't feel like it. Who feels like getting up at 11 o'clock at night when the doorbell rings, right? Who feels like that? Nobody feels like it. So my suggestion would be, as I suggest to myself every day, what do you feel? Do the exact opposite. Now, there are cases, obviously, where you don't want to do that. What if, you don't want to say, oh, I want to be mean to another person, right? But outside of that, when it comes to motivation, which is a word I just dislike, and I don't like to say the word hate. I'll whisper hate. I don't like to say that word, right? It's like the word stupid. I don't like that word either. It's not even in my vocabulary other than just telling you now it's not in my vocabulary. But I just dislike the word hate. But here's one of the things that I dislike, is that this whole sense of that we need to feel a certain way, that we need to be motivated. I don't believe in motivation. I believe motivation is like a slot machine in Vegas, right? That you're motivated by the bells, the whistles, the flashing lights, the vibration of the slot machine, all the rest of that, right? I don't believe motivation works. And if you need motivation, at least for me, motivation is like a drug. Motivation, like, oh, I need a hit of motivation, right? I need a hit of Tony Robbins. I need a hit of Brendan Bouchard. I need a hit of Zig Ziglar. I need a hit of this one or that one. Or whoever's getting up on stage, jumping around, prancing, clapping, right? Treating you, right? Like you're in Vegas at a slot machine. What you need to do, what works best for us, Not motivation, but memory. When you remember, as I said at the beginning of the show, your natural resources. When you remember your grit. When you remember those things that make you special. Those things that make you unique. Excuse me 1 second while I do this. Making a unique, what the heck? All right, that might be a little bit better. When you remember, like I should have remembered to turn off the blower, right? That would have been nice, talking about memory, right? When you remember those things that make you special, you don't need motivation. Think about it. If you truly need to be motivated, like I got to hit a drug, an hour later, I'm jonesing for another hit of the same drug. Well, that's what motivation's like, right? So if you truly believe in your ability to do anything you set your mind to, why would you need to be motivated? How does that work specifically? Well, it doesn't work because the things that mean the most to you, you don't have to be motivated to do. If you're truly thirsty, do you have to motivate yourself to have a drink of water? Oh, you ever have to motivate yourself normal times to hit the little boy's room or the little girl's room? No, your body says, hey, this is something we need to do, and you do it. You don't need motivated to do that. What you need is the memory of what you're ultimately capable of. And that's what Mortal Up is all about. Mortal Up is not to have the toxic sensitivity that grabs us all. And what we're going to do starting next week is instead of me telling you, oh, here's my definition of Mortal Up, and maybe you have someone that you want to be a guest on the show, it's going to be people that always thought they would do, we're going to have an author, we're going to have a painter, we're going to have a chef, we're going to have people on the show that did away with all the people, right, the Venus flytraps in their life, trying to hold them back, the walking, talking pits of quicksand that say, oh, you'll never be able to do that. You'll never achieve this. You're always going to be mediocre. It's never going to work for you. Well, these are people that ignored that. They ignored the toxic sensitivity swirling around them. They set their mind to do it. They weren't motivated to do it. They said, no, this is important to me. This is what I'm going to do right now, in this moment, in all of time. And those will be the people that we interview in Mortal Up. So I've got some great people in mind. You may have some as well. Please, like I said, drop us a line at Brian Brawdy Official here on Facebook or on Spitter, at brianbrawdy.com. I'm sure we're on Instagram and LinkedIn, or leave us a message over at mortalup.com about the people that you think epitomize this sense of, wasn't easy, but I did it anyways. Was it guaranteed? Probably not, but I did it anyways. Did I feel like doing everything I needed to do in order to be able to achieve this? Yeah, probably not, but I did it anyways. Those will be the people that fill up this segment for Mortal Up so that the rest of us can look at it and go, wow, if they did it, maybe I can do it too. And that's going to be the premise. The premise, very simply again, is that if you're here, you're already a superhuman. And what separates you from that future, if you will, what separates you from having those things that are already you is your memory. You've forgotten, and I talked about it last night, how there's all kinds of people absolutely willing to aid and abet your amnesia. And it's easy to do. I can't even believe I'll say this, but I'll do it now in the closing 5 minutes. Here's why I don't get too worked up about politics. I've said before, if your flames can be fanned by a career politician, what the hell happened to you? And I think what happens is everyone, I don't want a president that's a spiritual leader. I don't want a president that's my athletic mentor, right? I don't want a president that's I don't want a governor. I don't want a mayor that's a role model. I don't look to these politicians. They're public servants. I don't look to them to be Superman, to be Santa Claus, to be God, to be the Pope, to be, right, whoever, whatever it is. They're public servants. At least they're supposed to be. Now, you could argue, Brian, there's not a lot of public servant in them. How do they all start out basically penniless? And I don't know what the percentage is. Someone might know. Please put it here in the feed if you do. But 60, 70, 80, 90% of them come in without a lot of money and they leave millionaires. They're public servants. So I think in a lot of the battle I heard today a couple different politicians go, well, I can restore order, or I can restore our belief in the country, or, oh, dark days, very dark days, right? And I'll make the days bright again. Baloney. They're politicians. They're public servants. They're a couple pay grades above garbage collectors, right? Recycling operators. So I think we get in trouble because everyone well, I want him to be him or her to be my spiritual leader. I want him or her to be the icon of all that's good. No, you don't. I want them to do what we elect them to do. End of discussion. Now, you and I can argue. Well, do you want them to do what Democrats want? Do you want them to do what Republicans want? Do you want them to do what libertarians want? Do you want them to do what independents want? Great. Fantastic. Let's have that debate. But let's stop making them all rock stars. For that matter, let's stop making rock stars rock stars. Oh, well, this person in the NBA said this, or this person in the NHL says that. But the only thing I've ever heard from a politician, and I don't even watch the sport, but I will tell you, one of the most important lessons that I've taken from a professional athlete ever was Wayne Gretzky in hockey. When he said, and I was in a meeting and I saw this on this person's office wall, Wayne Gretzky says, I don't skate to where the puck is. I skate to where the puck is going to be. Now that's news we can use. If you're an NBA player, a football player, a baseball player, a hockey player, whatever, I really couldn't care less. I really couldn't care less about your opinion. I'm glad you have one, but it doesn't move my needle. Well, I don't care. You live in a different world. You play a sport. You're a billionaire, a millionaire at least. Why would I care how your thought process goes one way or another? Here's a secret. Fun fact, as my friend Kel says, fun fact, I don't care. So all I'm suggesting is in all the debate, in all of the, when you talk about mental clarity, in all the different brawling that's going on now, our public servants, our politicians are supposed to be just that. They're not supposed to be God. They're not supposed to be the Easter Bunny. They're not supposed to be Santa Claus. They're not supposed to be the Tooth Fairy, for God's sakes. They're public servants that we hire to do a job so that we can get on with our responsibility to mortal up. That's it. No more. No more. Do the job you're elected to do and stop making it out like you can part the sea, that you alone can communicate with aliens. Although some of the stuff I hear coming out now, maybe they are communicating with aliens. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Yes, that's a dog whistle, right? Just do your job. Do what we hire you for and leave all the holier than, woo! Oh, well, I can walk on water. I can do this. I can do that. Great. I didn't ask you to do any of that. I asked you to do your job. Get out of the way. Remove all the obstacles, all the speed bumps, all the bullies. Remove what you can so that the individual that elected you has an opportunity to mortal up. End of discussion. All right, so probably a little more of a rant there than we prepared for. Wayne right now coming out just shaking his head going, oh, why does he do this? Well, I don't know. I don't even know why I do it. But in any event, remember, instead of all the infighting, they're public servants. Let's just make them do what it is we hired them to do. That's my thought, at least. All right, so again, we're going to talk about the 500th episode. Very excited about it. Oh, yeah, look at that. We got champagne. And here's the thing about this graphic, just so you know, on the left, it's champagne. On the right, it's non-alcoholic grape juice. So for those of you interested, right, a little bit of everything for everybody. So that'll be Tuesday coming up, the 500th episode, right after the holiday. I wish you just an absolutely fantastic holiday weekend. I hope you're having a blast. I used to be able to say, I hope you're having a riot, but you can't say that anymore because people have even ruined that term now, right? But I hope you're having an absolute thrill of a weekend planned, whether you're going somewhere or staying home in the lockdown or doing this and that. I hope you're absolutely prepared to have the time of your life this weekend. And then we'll see you next Tuesday. If you'll honor us with your presence, we'll see you next Tuesday for the 500th episode of the Brian Brawdy Show. Man, it takes a lot. There's been a lot to interrupt this, but we'll be back with the 500th episode. All right, have an absolutely fantastic weekend. It's time to tune out the herd because everything you've ever needed, you've always had. So bring your own bold and let's go mortal up.